morning. Welcome, welcome. I'm just so delighted to be here today with you and happy that you're joining us. So thank you. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy day and joining me here. It means so much to me. And today I've got a real special guest with me. And our topic is going to be dealing with setbacks and how to turn our pain into power. So if you like this topic and you like what you hear, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It really, really helps us, help spread the word to other people that we can support, and subscribe. Hit that bell too, because then YouTube will notify you when I've got another video, maybe another great guest. Like my amazing guest today is Dr. Shannon. And I've got a tickle in my throat. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, so Dr. Shannon's going to share with us how to turn our pain into power. My name is Amirah, and I'm a psychic medium. I have been on my own path of turning pain into power for the last 30 years. And after having a near-death experience, it really transformed my life and made me really get in the game in terms of healing myself and finding out what made me the happiest. And so I'm super excited to dive into this conversation with Dr. Shannon, because we have both been on a path of resetting ourselves and reinventing ourselves several times along the way. And so, you know, I think it's not an easy thing all the time. It takes a lot of courage. And so with that being said, I found and met Dr. Shannon, and she has a wealth of wisdom and experience to share with us. So without further ado, Dr. Shannon, welcome to this live chat where we can talk about this.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm so delighted. Well, we worked through some technical challenges here, coming here. So thanks everybody for understanding. Sometimes, you know, it's like, I'm amazed. I wrote down a few things that I'm supposed to say because I get so excited to get into our conversation. It's like my spirit runs ahead of my body, and then I forget some things. So here I am without your bio in front of me. So I am so apologetic for that. Would you mind telling us who you are and a little bit about how you came to where you're at today?
Okay, so my name is Dr. Shannon Simpson, Shand. I have been a registered nurse for about 30 years. I owned and operated my own home care agency in New York. And I found myself stuck. You know, I was stuck in the way I was thinking, stuck in the finances, stuck in relationships, and I had to get myself unstuck. So that's why I'm here today, because I went through the process of getting myself unstuck, and I'm helping my clients get unstuck as well.
And so as a nurse, did you have a specialty, or were you working for an institution? How did you work?
So as a nurse, first I worked in primary care and then home care for a lot of years, home care and hospice, which was very interesting, just to, you know, help people at the end stages of their lives to transition over. So that was quite interesting. So home care, hospice.
And it takes a very special person dealing with hospice and even home care. So how did you get into that?
You know, I prefer to see people in their own environments, because sometimes, you know, when they're in the hospital, that's not their environment. So they'll say yes to everything. And then when they go home, they don't know how to make that adjustment. So when you see them in their homes, you're able to guide them according to what they have in their home and what resources they have access to. So I think you could do better care in the home than you can in the hospital. That's just my personal opinion, having done home care for so long.
Now, you're not doing this anymore, is that correct?
That is correct. So I sold my...
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Right. So I sold my business and I transitioned fully into helping other people get unstuck and to help them navigate life, really, and to take their lives and finances to their next level, whatever that means for them, because this is individual.
So I know, having gone through my own near-death experience and working with a number of clients who were near death and in the process of transitioning this 3D world, it can be pretty heavy work. And it
Yes.
takes a really special person, somebody that has a big heart, which obviously you have. You did that for a lot of years, right?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Lots of years. Since 1997. I can't do the math right now.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yes,
know. Well, and then, yeah, all the years kind of get jumbled up, but it's a
yes,
long time, right?
yes,
But
yes.
as you're reinventing yourself, so you went from I'm assuming it was a career that you felt passionate about and you were driven to following your purpose. And then you got to a point of, would you call it burnout?
I wouldn't call it burnout. So here's the backstory.
Yeah.
So when I
Give
was
us the
younger,
juice. Come on, Shannon, give us the juice.
yes. So the backstory is I really lacked guidance when I was growing up, right? So I didn't have a mentor, quote unquote. So I said to myself, because I've always known I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I said to myself, I want to own a clinic. So my 17-year-old brain at the time said, you want to own a clinic? You should become a nurse. So that was my advice to myself at 17, which obviously wasn't the best advice because if you want to own something, you should be a business major, but I went into nursing. So that's really how I ended up in nursing because I thought I should become a nurse so I could learn how to operate a clinic. But no.
But in 97, who knew that?
Well, true.
I mean, we didn't have the internet. We weren't exposed to, I think that takes a lot of courage and a lot of, pardon me, but balls.
Yes.
It really takes persistence. It takes determination to figure things out, even though you had no guideposts. I
Right.
think that takes tremendous persistence and perseverance and amazing. And where did you grow up, Shannon?
So actually, I was born in Jamaica, West Indies, and I moved to the United States in 1983. So I lived in New York for a while, and now I live in Atlanta, Georgia.
So we're like each other. I mean, I'm from a foreign country too and moved here in
Where?
87. Yeah.
Where were you
I'm
born?
from Canada. Yeah, moved
Oh,
here in
okay.
Canada. Yeah,
Yes,
I know.
because I don't
I
see
know.
Canada.
I know a lot of people think Canada is part of the United States, but don't say that to a Canadian. Okay? We're really very different people. But
Yes.
that aside, also that to me, talk about getting unstuck when you're coming from a foreign country and you're moving to this place. Talk about that. How was that
Well,
for you?
all right. So when I was 2.5 years old, my mom actually left to pursue a better life in Canada, as a matter of fact, Ontario.
Oh, okay.
I think
Yep.
Hamilton, Ontario. Does that
Okay,
sound
yeah,
right?
that's where most people immigrate to Ontario. They think that's Canada.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
So
I
yes,
laugh. Yeah.
right. So that's where she went, and her intentions were great, but she left me with some folks that she thought would take care of me. And by the time I was 11 years old, I was sexually violated by 5 men. So
Wow.
that caused my emotions to be all over the place. My self-esteem was very low. I lacked confidence, and I moved through life feeling less than, and that
Yeah.
wasn't a good place to be.
Deficit. You were at a deficit in terms of
Yes,
your own spiritual,
yes.
but you still have that perseverance, it looks like. Your
Oh, yes,
soul is a
yes.
fighter soul, huh?
Yes, but thank God for that. And I think that's why now I'm so passionate about helping, especially women who lack confidence, just because I know how it feels to operate and go through the world with, having such low confidence,
Right.
self-confidence.
And
Yeah.
having the odds stacked against you. So,
Yes.
so you were 2 when you came to Canada?
No, no, no. My mother left. She went to Canada and left me in Jamaica.
Oh, I
So,
see. And so when did
right.
you come? How old were
So,
you
right.
when you came?
So I met my mother when I was 10 years old, and I started living with her when I was 11 years old.
Oh,
So, of
that's
course,
traumatic too, isn't it?
yes, because by that time I had formed my personality.
Mhm.
I had heard lots of bad things about her, so I came with that
Yeah.
prepackaged uh, hurt and anger.
Yeah.
And
Resentment.
yes, and I wasn't the child that she thought she had, and she wasn't the mother that I thought I needed. So
Oh,
a lot of friction, a lot of tension, on and on and on for years. So I stayed in my mother's house till I was 18. I went away to college at that time. And trying to find myself, really trying to find myself, trying to figure it all out without the guidance. And so you make a lot of mistakes, not you. Well, I made a lot of mistakes trying to figure out what's what. So
mhm.
let me just do this full circle because I don't want to leave it there. So
Yeah.
When I was 49, I know I'm 25, it looks like, right? So when I
Yes,
was,
you look 25, not a day over.
yes, yes. So when I was 49, that was the first time I ever had a heart-to-heart conversation with my mom for the first time, 49 years old. So I just want to bring the story around. And because she, wanted me to be someone else, I wanted her to be someone else. And so we never found a happy medium. But when I was 49, I was not doing well. I was sick. And she invited me over to her home to spend a few days with her. And while I was there, she said, sit down. I sat down and she got some water and she put some salt and oil in the water and prayed and washed my feet. And then started to pretty much apologize. She had apologized in the past, but
Wow.
the apology hit me in a different way this time. Because I kind of felt it was like heart to heart, spirit to spirit. It just wasn't just words.
Was it
And for
is that a Jamaican tradition or ritual?
um, no, that is
I
not a
wonder where
Jamaican.
she heard about that. Yeah, that's
I,
interesting.
yes, I think she had gone to Africa a couple years
Oh,
ago.
okay.
I
Okay,
think
because I see, yeah,
yeah, I think she may
not
have learned.
Kunindera, but similar to, yeah,
Okay, yes. No, it's not a Jamaican ritual. It's not that I know of. I've never seen that
African.
before.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, Jamaicans came from Africa originally,
right,
right?
right.
Yeah,
So, right. So once she did that, for some reason, that broke something between us, whatever that barrier, whatever that stronghold, for the
yeah.
lack of a better
Karmic,
term.
karmic, or some demon energy.
Yes, definitely broke that for me. And we were able to start to build and have a mature adult relationship. So we're starting from where we are. Because I spent a lot of years regretting and wondering and blaming and, in anger. So that
Yeah,
caused me to be able to move on. So
yeah.
that was very helpful. That was great, actually.
Yeah, that's very powerful that
Yeah.
she had that wisdom or insight to
Yes,
really want and the true desire to connect heart to heart
right,
and
right.
like, yeah, it's unfortunate that you were divided at such an early age, but she did
Yes,
her best, as you said,
right.
she didn't
But
know
yeah,
anything else.
right, exactly. And then I had to think about it. I mean, at that moment when I saw her on her knees, because I'm sitting on the chair and she's on her knees washing my feet. I don't know what that was, but that was something like supernatural in a way.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
see that. I see that.
yes,
Like almost like I see this angelic intervention, this higher
right,
being that's
yes,
moving through her, going,
yes,
enough already. This is
yes,
sacred connection, and we have to heal it.
right, yes. And that's how that started there. Yes. So I'm grateful for that. Definitely grateful for that.
And so, was that the turning point for you when you decided to, like, where were you in your business at that point?
At that point, I was still transitioning out of home care. So
Right.
I
So
had,
you wanted to make something different, but
yes. But I was stuck, I guess, right? That's the term.
well, I mean, it's a process that we're
Yes,
all we're all in this never-ending process, it seems,
yes,
of growing, transforming, healing, expanding to understanding who we really are.
right.
So you were feeling like you wanted to make these changes and trying to make that rapid change, and then what? Did you have a plan of what you wanted to do next? Because
No, but
I talk to a lot of people that they get to a place where they know they got to make a difference or change. They don't like what they're doing, but they don't have the vision yet to where it's going. Did you find yourself experience any of that?
well, yes and no. I think as I got older, um, I kind of said, well, maybe you should slow it down. Maybe you should do this. Maybe you should. Because I've always had dream of doing great things and changing lives and going to countries and building clinics. Like I've always had these great dreams, like for little girls and all of these things. But there was a lot of pressure. But I didn't realize that although I had setback, my mindset and my own uh, lack of self-confidence was holding me back from being that change agent that I know that I could be. So
Yeah.
for some reason, that thing, for the lack of a better word, with my mom, having
Uh-huh.
that break, it kind of released me now to be my full self.
Mhm.
I'm not sure why that held me back, but for some reason it did.
Well, it's
But
a very powerful connection. It's probably the most powerful connection we all have.
Right.
You know, when you're think about it, when we're in the uterus, the womb of our mother, we're literally, as a pure spirit, we come in and we start matching her frequency. So this is before we have a consciousness in the human body, but we're matching, we're absorbing her feelings and her thoughts and her energy. And then we're born, we continue unconsciously as a new human, we're matching our fathers and our siblings and the environment around us. And so you had that was broken from you. And it's like, talk about traumatic experience, trying to figure out who you are, because most of us associate ourselves with our family and
Yes.
we don't even realize we've received all those programs. I want to ask you, is your mother a healer?
I'm not sure she has the title healer, but if
But
someone
she's
is,
always helping and serving and
yes,
okay,
yes.
because I see that energy about her, and that's the biggest thing that, I'm sorry, but your spirit is showing me that you've been trying to connect back with that memory of being connected with your mom, and that's part of the way you're doing it.
Okay, all right, yes. I mean, people call her when they're sick, but I don't think she's ever called herself a healer.
Exactly, exactly. Like she's not licensed or, you know, but she's the person they go to.
Right, yes.
But this is so unconscious. It looks like your spirit was looking for that connection. And that is part of the reason that was such a driving force for you to go into nursing.
Oh, okay.
It's so hidden. It's so unconscious.
Right,
And
yes.
almost like when you got connected with mom, you got to break that connection.
Right,
It's
yes.
like, oh, that's not really my purpose. It was a borrowed purpose from somebody else. Me,
Right,
my mom,
right,
unconscious.
right, yes. As a lot of times we live other people's dreams or cultural dreams,
And we
you know,
don't even know it.
yes, we don't even know it. 'Cause a
And
lot of
so,
Caribbean people are nurses, like, okay, you should be a nurse or a teacher. And subconsciously, maybe I picked that up somewhere,
well, being your mom as a healer, you know, you translated that unconsciously to, okay, nurse, right?
Right, right.
Yeah. So that's fantastic. I'm very excited for you. So tell us about, was there a specific journey that you took to help you find yourself unstuck, or how did you approach that?
All right,
I mean,
so,
most of us, when we're stuck, we don't think, oh, I have to get unstuck. We're just in this pain that sucks.
right, oh,
And we
yes.
just want our pain to end, right? So how did you do it? What was your approach?
Within a series of things, because sometimes you may be stuck in one area, you become unstuck, but you're still stuck in something else, right? So many, many years ago, when I was 29 years old, I woke up one morning and I could not walk. And for me, that was devastating. Like, oh my God, my legs don't work. I need my legs. At that time, I had been working 2 full-time jobs and a part-time job on the weekend because I was 29, I was turning 30, and I had to own my own house by 30. Like, how could you not own your home by 30? So I was going. And my nervous system said, well, we got to stop this, right? And so my plan was interrupted. So the money that I was saving up to purchase a home all was used up within that year that I couldn't walk, and I needed physical therapy and occupational therapy. So all those funds were dried up. So of course, I started to feel stuck, because that was definitely a setback. Because my goalpost was 30, and with that year I turned 30 and I didn't own my house. I was still renting.
I
So I
think
just
you
stepped
told
back.
me you're a Taurus, aren't you?
Yes,
Very determined and also stubborn, so that you couldn't shift that picture. It took a
yeah,
lot, right? I'm
right.
sure.
It's called
Painful.
committed though.
Oh,
Committed,
I
not
love
stubborn.
that. I love
Yes.
that. Yeah. And you found another way, I bet.
Yes, I was committed to the process. So the goal didn't change. I was still wanting to own a house, but my plan had to change, which is what I
Yes.
tell my clients all the time: set your goals. But sometimes your plans may have to be adjusted, because you may say, okay, I want to do it in X amount of time, and this is the way I need to do it. But life happens to all of us, and
Yeah.
we may have to make adjustments. you know? So I ended up owning my house at age 34 instead of 29, but I still got there. But within that time frame, I went back to school, I got my master's, so I was working and working, strengthening myself and doing other things. So with clients, I always tell them, whatever your goals are, be flexible enough to adjust the plans to achieve your goals.
I think Taurus are really, really hardworking, and that your legs not working
Yes.
was a sign, I guess, for you to slow down a wee bit.
Yes, I had no choice. No choice.
Be more gentle with yourself. Yeah, that's hard for high achievers.
Yes.
That's the feeling of feeling stuck. What do you mean I can't move?
Right.
That's not an option.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Wow,
But
congratulations. That's amazing.
thank you. But within that time, though, although I wanted to purchase my own home, while I was sick within those 4 years, I was able to guide other people who wanted to own their own homes, told them what to do, and within that time frame, they were able to make their first home purchase, which was wonderful. So I celebrated them that they were able to do what I was trying to do, and at that time, I was not able to do that until later on.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I think it's also amazing that you had that money to support you.
Say that one more time.
I think it's amazing that you had that nest egg, that savings account to support that time of, not being productive. When my near-death, no, it was when I had when my dad died and I was divorced, I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue, and the doctors told me death or wheelchair. I had no money. I was working a really good job, but I didn't have a savings. And if it wasn't for my father dying, as sad as it sounds, I don't know how I would have made it, because I got a little bit of money to help me out, heal myself and process. So accolades to you that you had the determination, the foresight, and the discipline to build that savings account. Because I don't think a lot of people do that, Shannon.
Right. So I must say that the money didn't last as long as I wanted it to last. So although I had some savings, I also had to tap into my credit cards. So thank God I had that resource, right?
And you had a good credit rating.
Yes, at that time, yes.
At that time, life happens, right?
No. I said at that time, because while I was sick and I was using the credit cards, and of course.
And you were young. I mean, most people aren't so worried about their credit rating at that age, at least back in 97 or whenever it was in the early 2000s.
Right.
Yeah.
So yes.
And were you involved with personal development training? What helped you get through all that?
Well, a friend of mine moved in. Having the right people around you makes a difference, right? So yes, a friend of mine. If you had asked me a year before, say, okay, if you needed someone who would show up for you, like I wouldn't have named her. But this friend, she moved in with me. She cooked all my meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner. She went to every single doctor's appointment with me. She bathed me because my hands couldn't hold the washcloth.
Oh, wow.
And at 29, I mean, you can imagine the frustration, because you want to be able to do everything. You want to be independent.
And humiliation.
Yes, exactly. So for me, knowing who my tribe, like, okay, I had this person as a part of my tribe and I didn't know it, so people who were my friends at a deep level and I wasn't aware, I became aware at that point, which for me, that meant a lot. That helped to build me. And one of this, there was a scripture that we talked about that said, a living dog is better than a dead lion. Because when they're both alive, the lion is stronger, but if the lion is dead, then this dog is better.
Wow.
So, right. And so the whole time, she and I back and forth would say, well, as long as there's life, there's hope. As long as there's life, there's hope. As long as there's life, there's hope. Because a living dog is better than a dead lion. And that helped to propel me to want to keep trying, and go some more. Back in, we kept repeating. And over the years, we've laughed about it now, but back then, that was real to me, because I felt like I was on my back and had to figure out how to get up and move forward and keep it going.
Well, for everybody in that position, when we're either burned out, if we've got, because you burnt yourself out, basically.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
You fried your whole nervous system. Did they
Yeah.
diagnose you with anything particular?
Well, they did, and I try not to, because I think I
No,
live
you don't
in
want
a,
to frame it. Yeah, I get it. I get it. You
yes,
don't
yes,
want to
yes,
label it. I
right,
understand that.
yes,
But
yes,
so it's like with me, when they diagnosed me with chronic fatigue, I just went, "You're full of shit." I don't believe it. It's not, I'm
yes,
not anchoring that. I'm not
right,
accepting that belief system after I
right.
cried for 2 weeks.
Okay, yes, yes. I mean, I totally get it. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm like, oh my God, because they tell you all these stories about wheelchairs and they go
Yep.
on and on about
Yep.
what this could mean and this and that. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not having that. And people thought I was in denial, but I would get
Yeah.
up every day. I would do my affirmations. I would talk to my legs. You are strong. You are healthy. I would talk to the myelin sheath in my neurological system. Like you're whole, you're protective. You're doing what you're supposed to do. I just talk to myself, talk to my body, talk to my mind. So even when I felt like this numbness or tingling, or I'm walking and I'm dragging one leg, I would just talk to myself and talk to my body. And that's really what I did. I didn't want to magnify the diagnosis that they gave.
Right. The label or the box that they put you
Right,
in. Yeah.
right. So I don't
Yeah.
even want to give it energy right now as we're speaking.
Right.
Yes,
No,
yes,
no, I completely honor that. I
yes,
get it. I get it. Yeah. Well, and when I say, what they labeled me of, in my mind, I'm exploding fireworks. It's
okay,
like I'm destroying that picture that they gave me. And
yeah,
it's always a constant process of destroying the energy that would be attached to that.
right,
Because we can heal ourselves in the past. We're still in that process of healing the past.
yes. That's what I'm
Yeah.
learning. That's what I'm learning now.
Yeah, and you've got a very strong mind, which is probably the most important thing in being focused and staying on what you want to create, not what you don't want to create.
Right, right. Exactly. 'Cause even now, people who knew me back then, they would say, how is your quote unquote that thing that I'm not mentioning? And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, what are you talking about? I haven't even accepted that. Like you're holding on to that? Like I let
Yeah.
that go so long ago. Like,
Well, you bring up a good point, because that's what family does too. I remember when I had moved away and then I'd go back to visit. Oftentimes family goes, "Oh, remember when you did this and this at
yes,
16?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? I don't even remember that. Why?
yes,
That is not who I am today." Like
right.
they didn't know who I am. And that's the downside, isn't it, of
Yes, it is.
old friends and old family members that want to hold on to that box that
Right,
their perception of how they see us.
right. And if I continue to travel down that path, then I would be in the wheelchair had I followed that path of this is the way it should go. But no, 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 I'm not having that. I'm not
And,
having that.
and that is also a big problem that I notice some of my clients will mention from time to time, is letting go of people in our lives that no longer support us or can't see us or have a perspective of who they think we are, but it doesn't match with the current reality. Have you experienced any of that?
Well, yes, I have. And I think part of it was because my mom, I'm thinking because she wasn't there as I was growing up, I attached myself to people. And so I don't like to let go. So once we're friends, then I think we should be friends forever. But what I'm
Yeah.
still in the process of learning is that sometimes some friendships are for 10 years, some are for 20, and some are for a lifetime. They're not all in the same category. So I'm learning right now as we speak that if someone has to leave, don't take it personally. It's
Right.
just for my growth. So that I'm currently learning. I'm currently
Well,
learning.
and it is one of those things. I think the more we grow into who we really are, we match and attract people quicker, and we
Yes,
have deeper relationships in a short amount of time. But it does take that maturity and confidence,
right.
and I guess even some heart, knowing that it's not about you.
Yes,
Not there. If they're not able to keep the pace as you're walking and stepping into a greater version of yourself, then you got to kind of let them stay at their own pace.
right. Yes.
It's yeah.
So yes, so I've learned to say, okay, it's not personal. It's where they are. Maybe, something in life will bring us back together at some point, or maybe not. and
And
just be
it's painful,
grateful.
isn't it? It's
Oh, it
painful.
is it's very painful. It's very painful because when you're trying to make a change in your life, sometimes you just need to spend less time talking. But you're thinking if you already build that bond with them, they should know that they're at the same place in your heart, that you haven't changed towards them. You just need to take steps to reach the next goal and the next goal and the next goal. And it requires time and sacrifice and energy. And sometimes people take it personally to say, well, you don't like me anymore. Or do you think you're better because you're, transforming into someone else? But so I'm still learning to say, okay, it's not, however they respond, it's not, I can't control someone else's response.
Yeah, that's a good one. That a lot of people, especially as an entrepreneurs, they don't talk about this, but that it does require a tremendous amount of focus and time discipline and energy. And there was one speaker that I was listening to, and she was saying, oh, well, if you're not chit-chatting to people and constantly engaging with people, you have an intimacy issue. But it's really hard to, like, as an energetic, sensitive person, you start leaking energy in all these different places, and then you lose focus.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. You get distracted. So if your goal is to run a race, I'm reminded of, I've never ridden a horse, but I'm told that you have to put blinders on the horses so they're not distracted. So the goal is, there, if it's open and you're looking left, you're looking right, you're not going to win the race. So sometimes you just have to put everything down, put your blinders on for a particular season in your life until you get to your destination.
Yeah, I'm thinking of a friend that I would run into her she'd feed the ducks at this park and by the river that I walk at every morning, and we would connect and just always have a wonderful connection. But I was working on finalizing my PhD thesis, and I was really focused and spent a lot of hours and committed to completing this. And she got really ticked off. She didn't say why she's mad, but it had been like 2 months since I reached out to her. And then I reached out and said, oh, it's been a long time. I'm really sorry. I've been really, and she goes, yeah, it has. She gave me the cold shoulder. It's like, okay, so you're mad. All right. So, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
What are you going to do?
Right. Allow me the time to build. You're trying to build. And if you're distracted and having side conversations and hanging out at the movie theater, you can't do.
I could do my walk, but I'm in and out. I go do my thing and I'm back focusing on my, I don't have time for coffee. Unfortunately, I didn't at the time. So, that's a sort of a balance, isn't it? We're always looking to find the happy medium, right? Not trigger people, but also realize you've got to put yourself first. I teach that to all my students.
Yes.
Putting ourselves first.
Yes. And I'm learning that. Some days I'm really good at it, and other days everyone else goes first, but then I have to pull myself back in, that if you don't have the oxygen, as they say on the airplane every time you travel, that you may not be alive to give the oxygen to someone else. So put it on first. So I'm still learning and I'm practicing that.
Well, yeah, and it is work in progress,
Yes.
I don't know that you ever arrive at, this X level of, you can have some categories or aspects in your life, but then something else goes out of balance, right? It's
Right.
a challenge in
Right.
any
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what
Yes.
type of work are you doing now? How are you working with people, Dr. Shannon?
All right. So what I do, everything is remote. We do it on the phone. So we sit down and we evaluate where the person is, because everyone's in a different spot. So where are you? And then some people are like, oh, I'm not sure. And they try to figure it out. Some people can tell you exactly where they are. And then we decide, well, what do you really want? Because a lot of times people want what was designed for them by other people, or what the parents, what the church, what the teachers has said, okay, well, you'll be good at this. Maybe you should do this. And they've started a path that someone else has carved out. So I've always asked them, well, what do you really want?
Right.
And then once they are able to identify what they really want, then we say, well, let's write the vision, right? And then that comes in the form of setting SMART goals. And then from the goals, then we develop an action plan. Now the goal should be, like 1 year, 6 months, or 5 years, 20 years, whatever it is for that individual or for their company. And then we develop an action plan. And then I just tell them to go to work, plan your work your plan, and your plan will work. Plan your work your plan, and your plan will work. And just to be consistent, because a lot of times you're doing the right thing, but you may have to do it over and over and over and over and over and over again. You may get tired, but you know that's what you want. You've carved out the plan, and you just have to stick to it. And persistence is key. Push. Persist until success happens. That's what I say. Persist until
You're amazing. You're amazing. Because a lot of people, if they just keep pushing or they keep it's failing, they're going to give up, or they're going to go find another expert and they're going to try something different. And then they get all tangled up and they're all confused, right?
Right. Right. Because stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. You have to remember why you started. Why did I start this?
And in that case, it's grounded in present, and it's aligned when you said, you know, it's connected to their heart. It's passion, right? They're going to stick with that because they're aligned with it.
Right, right. Yes. And sometimes it's discouraging. For example, let's use myself, for example. I've struggled with weight for as long as I've known myself, right? So even when I look back now and I say, you thought you were fat, then look at you were skinny. But in your head, you create all these stories, you know? So I mean, there are days, especially when I lived in New York, I would say to myself, I need to be at the gym at 6 a.m. But when I would wake up, look outside the window and there was snow, I didn't want to get out, you know? So you have to remind yourself, what's the goal? Why did you set this goal in the beginning? It's because X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, and you stick to the plan. And usually once you start, you feel encouraged. So just get started, just get started.
Right. I know I was reminded, I just saw a Facebook post that I had posted last fall, and I committed to going for a walk every single morning at 6:30 or 7. And, you know, even in the winter, it's cold. And I was going through the very same thing. But I saw that post and I was reminded, and I said to myself at the time, no, Amirah, because I tried to talk myself out of it. It's cold. I'm tired. Oh, tomorrow, I can miss a day. I had all these excuses, like, right. And so next thing you know, I said, no, you promised yourself that commitment to yourself. You feel better. You connect with the cardinals and the trees, you know, and you love the fresh air. So I said, that is how I give to myself. So sticking to the smallest little thing matters such, maybe the biggest amount, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Whether it's something as simple as drinking 8 glasses of water per day, just stick to it. And in the long run, your kidneys will be better, your skin will be better, your hair will be better. I remember years ago, someone that I knew who served as a mentor at the time, he used to say that an excuse is a crutch for the uncommitted. So if you're committed, then you won't have the excuse. So that's a crutch. You're just leaning on that. So it sounds good, right? But it's an excuse. So you're not committed. So you're leaning on that crutch.
Yeah, so it's a story. It's a story we all tell ourselves. We get sucked in. And I think that's the biggest reason why we need mentors, or why we need a coach. And you're the perfect example. You're so disciplined and focused and capable that, by God, when any unfortunate situation or life happens, you know how to dig it out.
Right. And I mean, and as a coach, I have a coach, you know what I mean? So, because I cannot see at the back of my head, I would love to be able to see back there, but I have no idea what's going on back there. And so someone else, a coach, a guide, could say, okay, do this. I see this. Look that way. You don't see a blind spot. You know, even the greatest basketball players, they know how to play basketball, but they have coaches, right? Although they're great at basketball, they have coaches. So same idea, same idea. No matter your age or your stage, I think everyone needs to have a coach.
Yeah. Yeah. And remind us why we made those goals in the first place, or what our original intention was. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Because the coach serves as your accountability partner.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a reflection. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Because we don't want to hear the things that we don't want to hear.
Well, that is true. That is true.
Because that's why we get stuck.
Right. And you don't know what you don't know. A lot of times you think you know everything, right? Then you realize, oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, I know I did, for sure. Up until my dad died, I was 45. And I had various stages of thinking I knew so much, right? And that was when everything came crumbling down. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It just rattled me at a deep level to dig deeper. Yeah.
Wow. And sometimes you wish you had the time, or you wish, but you know, you do the best you can when you can. And when you learn, you just make the adjustments.
Right. Well, and the perfect time is right now.
Yes.
So wherever we find ourselves, this is the perfect time to
Right,
start
right,
whatever it is that we desire. So
right. Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
Right.
So do you have an offer, Shannon, Dr. Shannon? I feel so comfortable with you.
Oh, no, you're fine. That is
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. Do you have an offer or something that you can share with the listeners that you would like to extend?
Yes, sure. So I have what's called the Elevation Coaching Program. It's really for individuals who feel stuck and they want some help and support to take their lives and their finances to the next level. So I can be reached at, my email is info@iamshannonsimpson.com. That's info@iamshannonsimpson.com. And my social media is at I am Shannon Simpson. That's my social media. I am
Okay,
Shannon.
and I will put those in the description for the listeners.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah,
so
you're
much.
so welcome.
Mhm.
So people can reach out to you, do you, and book a call or have a
Yes,
conversation?
absolutely. I'll also give you my calendar link if that will be
Okay, I'll put
helpful.
that. Sure, sure.
Yes, yes. All right,
Okay,
wonderful,
that
wonderful.
sounds great. Well, do you have anything, any last minute comments or
Well,
anything you'd
thanks
like
for
to share?
having me. And I just want to encourage everyone. Sometimes, the times seem uncertain, but just as long as you have life, keep moving forward. Don't give up. Don't look to the left or to the right. Whatever your plans and your goals are, just keep moving forward, one step in front of the other, and keep going. Don't give up. Don't give up. Keep going.
But Shannon, the economy's bad, or I don't have a way. What would you say to that?
I just say, just take some time, stay still, and start thinking. Start thinking, what can I do? Ask yourself, what do I have? What do I know? What do I have access to? Because all of those things could create a path for you to move to the next level. So it depends on where you are. If you know how to write policies, you can write a policy and then be paid for that. If you know how to create checklists for wedding, checklists for bridal shower, checklists for whatever and all of those things. With the internet these days, you can really make money, right? You have access to making money on the internet, digital downloads, all of these things. So one of the common things that I hear from people go, I want to make $1 million, but I don't know how. So if you have something that's worth $1, get it on the internet. If 1 million people buy it, that's $1 million. Or if it's worth $250, then you do the math. How many do you need to sell? But with the internet, you have access to the world, and social media, really, you have access to the entire world. So sit back, be creative, get quiet, and start thinking, what can I do? What do I have? What are my resources? And then you take it from there. That's what I would say.
That's awesome. I love that because you're preaching to the choir here. I think getting quiet, we have all the answers when we connect to our creator, and we will be guided, but we have to listen and we have to trust.
Yes.
And believe.
Yes, absolutely.
That you can.
And yes, I don't know. I get my best ideas in the shower. I don't know. Something happens with the water. I'm like, oh yeah. So I mean, it may be different for other people, but wherever you get your ideas, go to your quiet place and get them, and then write them down. Don't expect to remember everything. Write them down.
Yeah. And then look at your notes.
Yes, absolutely. And daily, if not daily, a couple times per week to remind you, okay, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Yes, absolutely.
And it doesn't come immediately sometimes. So when we just loosen up and just let go and just allow the process that, the answers will come, the direction will come.
Yes,
and I hear a lot of people dismissing their ideas as stupid ideas, right? And so they discount some of the simplest things that could make them a multimillionaire.
Yes, absolutely. Years ago, I was listening to an interview with Michael Jackson. Oprah was interviewing Michael Jackson. He said something like, the reason why he doesn't sleep because he gets all of these ideas, but he knows that if he does not act on those ideas, maybe Prince will act on those ideas because he knows that the universe is not only giving me the ideas, the universe is giving other people the ideas too. So you want to act on them quickly. So I always remember that.
Well, that is a great story and a great place to say adieu until next time. I really and greetings to Michael Jackson from the other side. Maybe he's inspiring someone right now. Take steps as Dr. Shannon has. So thank you so much for joining me today, Dr. Shannon. I really, truly appreciate your enthusiasm. You know, enthusiasm, the Greek origin of that word is full of God.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you really are carrying it well. So thanks, everybody. If you liked our conversation today, please give this video a thumbs up. Leave your comments, because we'd love to hear if you're struggling with being stuck or what maybe you've overcome, and your secrets to doing that. So thanks again. I'll see you again real soon. I'll be back Tuesday, not Thursday. I don't know. I'm having a time warp moment here. But I'll be back 11 a.m. Eastern time. And according to Shannon, it's extraterrestrial time. So they're having fun with us too. So I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me.
You're